Grieg and Rachel Alexander were the Supreme Award winners in the Balance Farm Environment Awards for Northland in 2015 for their high-producing dairy farm. We visited Grieg and Rachel on their dairy and beef properties at the end of autumn this year.
We've got two properties. One here's 270 hectares approximately, and it has got a dairy platform through the middle where we milk 350 cows. Do approximately about 470 kilos a cow this year. Last year we did 520. It's rolling steep, there's a bit of flat. Off the side of that we have forestry. There's about 50 to 60 hectares of forestry, including a bit of native bush fenced off, and we've got eucalypts and radiata in there. And we've also carry all our young stock on that platform as well. And then about 3 kilometres up the road to the north we have a farm that we run beef on. We finish all our beef cattle at 22 months each year. In the early 2000s we brought what we call the home property off the family, and the beef farm we purchased probably about 5 years ago and have sort of developed that and expanded it. The hills are a challenge. They're quite labour intensive, and the wet winters. It's a farm of extremes. We carry more feed now. And we grow a lot of our own feed, so we become more in control of what we've got, and we tend to push feed ahead of us. So that's why you see baleage and silage stacks. Every day of the year we feed the cows here on the dairy farm. They say it's a system 5. We call it a medium input because we don't grow a lot of grass. We're not growing 15 tonne of grass. We're only growing sort of in the 9s just because of the soil and the steepness of it. So it's kind of difficult to compare a good producing pasture farm with ours. So we have to sort of go, well, we're lumped with what we've got, let's make the best of it. And the best of it is let's grow crops on the land that we can grow them well on and bring it back and feed it and get the production that way. It's always a balancing act. We never literally looked at it as an environmental way of doing it. We looked at it, it's the best way and the best outcome for the land of what we do, whether it's in trees, whether it's in dairy or dry stock or beef, or whether it's retired into a wetland. It's sort of just the easiest option, but you've always got one mind on the profitability.
They're our spring calving cows. Our soils here are very heavy soils, so we need to be really careful that we minimise pugging. We on-off graze when we need to eliminate damage to paddocks. We have got a feed pad. If we really have to, we'll stand them off and feed them there. Otherwise, we'll shift a break, give them a bit more grass. Well, we've bred a cow that really suits our country. So typical Northland, they need to handle the hills. We've got a predominantly Friesian herd, LIC bred, and they're in the top 3% nationally for Friesians. The breeding things we look for are udders, fertility and protein to get that milk into the vat. They're fed a combination of maize, clover silage and grass silage, as well as the grass that we grow. Obviously supplemented with the minerals to ensure that they do perform. So these calves are autumn calves. We rear about 90 autumn calves each year. That gets moved up onto our beef farm, about 3 kilometres north of here. We rear another 125 beefies in the springtime, along with our 120 dairy replacements. We rotivac our herd more as a precaution. We've never had any problems. We're quite big on hygiene though. We change the sawdust between the seasons. We spray our barn every week. We're really mindful of animal health issues.
We're 3 k's from the home farm or the dairy unit. We're now on the beef farm. This used to be a dairy farm some 15, 16 years ago. None of the dairy stock come here, so this is a standalone beef farm. So it allows us to finish all our beef cattle. So we take them from weaning right through to local trade. All these go to Progressive. We have an autumn line and a spring line. There's 440 head of cattle on here at the peak, and in the winter we're at the lowest point. We're trying to chase the peak schedule, and we're killing them at a lighter weight than some, but we average 470 a hectare of carcass weight. Red clover is a source of protein. This clover gets fed purely to the dairy cows, and it gets fed from November right through to March, and it'll vary from say 2 kilos a cow a day right up to 6. We're growing 200 tonne of clover a season. We start when we have seed head emergence down on the hills. So as the dairy farm's we're starting to lose quality because of seed head emergence and our protein's dropping, we start bringing this in. We cut this and put it through a silage harvester, and we build a silage stack. So every cut, a stack is made. Our last harvest was back in the end of April. We now have just finished a spray program, so this has had 2 sprays, a flatweed spray and a ryegrass spray. So it's just starting to recover from those sprays, and in approximately mid-June, towards the end of June, this will be just a short carpet. All the holes will fill in, and it will block out any weeds and grasses and suppress them, and we'll just have a short carpet, and then it'll stay dormant, and when the spring warmth comes, it'll take off, and then in October we'll take our first cut. And then once that's done, we're into a 40-day regime of cutting.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.